rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the God of thunder, mighty Thor.
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the edge of civility.
So where do you want to start on episode 76?
Well, let's start with your big movie experience.
My big movie experience that you haven't seen yet, right?
True.
Why have you not seen it yet?
Because I got caught in traffic, which, you know,
It
really,
ran out of gas.
well, not literally at the side of the road, but it was on E, but I had to stop and, like, you always say things like,
See, it happened to you too, didn't it?
that's true, it did.
So yeah, you didn't get to see Thor, but I saw Thor.
No. It was weird, though, because you always say things like, oh, I thought I was going to get caught in traffic and not, like, I actually got caught in traffic and didn't make it. Think of how often you've thought that versus how often it's actually happened.
Yes.
And it legitimately happened. I was pissed.
Well, the great thing about that is you will get to see it. And I will get to see it again. Because I have to see it again. Because it must have been in the theater. I don't know. It kind of sucked balls about halfway through, man. The 3D just went batshit, and I couldn't figure out what was happening, and I had to close one eye at a time, and I had to hold on and look another way, and it was all scattered and fucking flashy like a strobe light. It was killing me. But seeing the Cask of Ancient Winters in the opening fucking scene was pretty goddamn cool. Now, seeing as how this is weeks away, I wonder, should we spoil the super surprise at the end of the credits?
I think I can guess
Is it
what
going
it is.
to bother you?
I think I can guess what it is.
Go ahead and try to guess.
I think they find Cap in ice.
No.
Okay.
It's monumental, though.
All right.
It's hugely important. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You sure of it?
Yes.
You're not going to get all kooky on me.
I'm not really known for my kookiness.
Yes, you are. They find a cosmic cube.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Jumping right the fuck in, man. Going straight for the reality-altering craziness.
Nice.
And the things you see in the background in Odin's vault. An infinity gauntlet.
Ha!
The Eye of Agamotto. Crazy things.
Well, they
in
have
there.
started talking about a Doctor Strange movie now.
Well, they've tried that a couple of times. They tried the animated one.
Well, they tried everything.
Bored me
you
to
know.
tears. They tried the TV show Doctor Strange, and that was just terrible. You remember that one?
No.
Yeah, it was just pretty much a TV movie.
Oh, I do. I remember you telling me there was a TV movie. I've certainly never seen it.
Yes, it was horrifying. For the most part, the characterizations were pretty damn good. Odin was sufficiently imperious, especially when he was angry. Loki, you didn't really get much menace off him,
No.
and his plots themselves weren't especially deep, but you could see the guy emoting in his face. You could tell that there were gears running behind in his head, man. There were just gears just cranking away. How can I take over? Although, when you think about it, Thor was really supposed to learn humility in like 48 hours. Really?
Well, they're gods. They get bored very quickly.
Dude, it was, I mean, really. He sent them down, he meets Jane Foster, and then like a day and a half later, the picture's over.
Did they have the Warriors 3?
Yes. And Fandral couldn't have been cast better, man. He was just like, hey, baby. He was so dashing. Woo! Hogan the Grim was an Asian fellow, which didn't bother me at all. But they didn't give him many lines to deal with. But he seemed sufficiently taciturn, I suppose.
Yeah.
Volstagg was not nearly as huge as he should be.
Well,
but they showed him eating all the time, so it evened out on that score.
It's a little challenging.
A little bit, yeah. All right, who the fuck would you have play Volstagg? Who could you get away with?
Oliver Platt.
And Sif? Hot beyond hot. She could have looked a teeny bit tougher, though. Because, as Simonson Jor, as those of us who know Simonson so well and in ages past picked things up off the newsstand and had our images of Thor completely created by Mr. Walter. Sif, to me, was always drawn attractively, but more in a Sigourney Weaver, I'll kick the shit out of you way than I'm awesomely hot but also capable way that this girl was.
Really?
Yeah. So, Agent Coulson, they finally gave him some meaty shit to work with. That was pretty good. I didn't mind that at all. Let's see, who else did they have? They had some guy they made up named Eric. who was just really there to play off the Scandinavian myths, really. But, so many good things about it. The Frost Giant. Oh, Laufey, the King Frost Giant. I don't know who voice acted him, but they were impressive, man. It was like James Earl Jones impressive. It was like he had this huge timbre to his voice, and there was deep threat behind it, and somehow an imperiousness as well. And it was very clear and very deep, and the lines they gave him made it absolutely certain that he would fuck your shit up.
Very nice.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. We're going to leave it at that because I want to, leave you with something to work with,
No, I would definitely check it out.
Well, the little hipster girl was cool. Well, she was cute. I don't know, strictly cool because, hipsters and geeks aren't allowed to think each other are cool. Because, hipsters fucking suck. Skinny jeans? What the fuck, man? I don't need that shit. Did you do anything geekery oriented this week?
I bought a t-shirt.
What kind of t-shirt?
It's got Captain America's shield on it. It's the first thing I've worn with a comic on it in some time. And it immediately resulted in me having to talk to people. Like, people don't get that about me. Everyone's like, oh, he's the friendliest guy. Like, socially, I'm well ahead of you.
You cultivate a public image.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're in a public place, I'm going to be the guy who's open, you're going to be the guy who's quiet. But if somebody, like, people don't get how randomly people just come up to me. And you've seen this in action.
Yes, I have.
And it's unreal. Like, I was in a Goodwill the other day, getting wrung out, and I happened to look at the lady, and I'm like, hey, how's your day going? And she starts telling me about this dream where her ex-husband was hunting her.
What the fuck?
And I'm just in line, holding my friggin', ZZ Top LP.
And that is why I don't go to fucking Goodwill.
And I'm just looking at her like, guh? People do it. And, apparently it's geek code that if you have a geek shirt on, we can chat on an equal level.
Well, yeah.
I don't do things like that.
Well, you're going to have to go back to not wearing the geek shirts then.
Damn.
Or at least, only wear them when recording.
Who knew?
I was in BJ's the other day. Not BJ's, Sam's. And this guy at the pretzel counter had a Flash shirt on. I'm like, oh, nice, he's got a fucking Flash shirt on. And then I look at his arm. And he's got this huge wraparound sleeve tattoo of Deadpool shoving his sword through Carnage's mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, insanity, wasn't it? I was like, good ink, man.
Two things I don't want on my arm.
Carnage and Deadpool. I knew it was Carnage because it was all red.
Ugh, dick. I mean, so, hey, you're a fan, love you, good on
More
you.
power to you.
But, like, Carnage, you couldn't have Humbug, but fucking Zodiac? I mean, what? Like,
Humbug, you could. I can't use that as a title.
no, you cannot. But, good God, I'm sorry.
Wow.
You don't think he sits there and he goes, wow, I should have used Venom. I went Cardiac. I went Carnage.
That's incredible. So that's all.
Shang-Chi and Puma having an arm wrestling match. Just they're guys you don't want to be remembered on your arm for the rest of your life.
No, that's no Shang-Chi. Well, I mean, if you were in fact a martial arts guy,
You still wouldn't. You'd want Iron Fist. You wouldn't.
yeah, I suppose that would be kind of weird. So I came up with this new project, and I'm not going to divulge the details of this just yet because I need to finish gathering all the necessary materials. But suffice it to say, it involves dozens of Stormtrooper action figures. And before you say anything, it does not also involve my ass.
I love when I don't even have to make the insult. I just have people preemptively strike.
Or preventively strike. Either way.
No, because you still insulted yourself. I didn't even have to be involved.
That doesn't insult me. That fucks with you.
I think not, because you're implying that most people would think that as soon as they came up.
All right. Well, no, so you would think that.
But I wasn't.
I understand you've been trying to put out some effort in this whole routine here.
Yeah.
So let's hear about this effort with your notes taking.
Well, we discussed the idea that I really didn't think it was something that we had to discuss on air, but yes, I made notes for us to discuss this time. And so you go through the comics, I will have notes to confer on.
Good, very good. Then what is your take on the final and shocking issue of Justice League Generation Lost?
Well, let's start with Still Don't Care. So, all right, it's the final issue, 24, but it's not because it involves the rebirth of Justice League International.
I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's done by Giffen. Keep going.
But this one wasn't. What makes you think International will be?
I just need the tone and the comedy.
I'm thinking it's just going to be these guys carrying over.
God, I hope that's just not it, because that would irritate me. I was like, okay, you finally got everybody back except Ted, and now you're just going to be lame rather than...
Plus, Captain Atom is gone in the wind again.
Yeah, but he'll be back. He came back 3 times in this series alone.
Yeah,
So
but
I think that'll be okay.
I mean, everything about this book is just kind of half-assness. I mean, Maxwell Lord is now known to the world because Captain Atom threatened to beat him up through time. But then he immediately convinces people that he's not actually an anti-hero and saves Captain Atom's name, but blames other heroes, and he'll be out watching. He's like the Internet Avenger now.
The Internet Avenger.
And Blue Beetle beats Uber Omak by having him imbibe his scarab so that he turns into alien technology so he can shut him off.
We've seen things like that
Yeah,
before.
but you know what? There's nothing about this book that I'm dying to have it start a new book. And
But, I had a little shiver when I read, and this is for Ted Kord.
No, that was very nice. It would have meant more if it wasn't any of the characters who'd actually met Ted Kord.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, that's a given. But just so you know, kids, we're watching Beowulf, and Angelina Jolie's character just came up out of the water with her ass and her boobies.
It's a little bit weird, this movie.
A little bit. Anyway, so let's finish your impressions. I've said what I want to say.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I had no point did this book ever truly engage me the way I would have hoped for from this book. And, like, to me, that's a big deal. I am a huge fan of the Giffen and DeMantis era of this period.
Uh-huh.
And they really just never quite captured it.
No.
And if they'd gone a totally different way, fine. but they were trying to. It was like halfway between, and to have a different Blue Beetle, I get that obviously, but to then create a different Rocket Red who's kind of the same, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted to fill the slots, and I can see that to an extent. It might have been more poignant if they had just left the slots empty and just had the original remaining characters go off on their trips. That might have been valid.
What, they had to rebuild the team? Because obviously the characters that were left, like, without Blue Beetle and without Rocket Red, you have got... And really, Captain Atom, I mean, was a totally different team.
Yeah, but Captain Atom is going to be back.
But he was... I mean, where was the Martian Manhunter?
Yes, and his Choco addiction.
Yeah. Where was Elrond? I mean, obviously...
I would love to have Elrond back.
But you can't have everybody back. I don't really have a problem with that. Things are going to change, but then if you're going to change these things, don't recreate them.
I can see that. I don't have any problem seeing that.
What's next?
Anything further?
That's
Okay, very good. Brightest Day 24.
We went through 24 issues of this crap so we could get Swamp Thing back.
And John Constantine saying bollocks.
No, but literally, we went through 24 issues so that we could get Swamp Thing.
Well, so that we could get Swamp Thing officially in DC mainline continuity. Which is probably why Constantine was saying bollocks. But,
Because they're already going to fuck with it.
Yeah, right off the bat. But it was awful roundabout. I don't remember any indication that Boston Brand was falling in love with Dove.
Yeah, quite a few, actually.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, like them making out and telling each other they love them.
What part was that in?
Well, I don't remember the exact issue, but yes, if you go back, it'll be painfully obvious.
That is some terrible, terrible. Back to Beowulf. She's caressing his sword and saying that
And
he's
melting
powerful. And now that she's done with him, it's melted. It's terrible. Oh, no crazy-ass metaphors there or nothing.
And Beowulf goes in where the others have been.
No, I'm glad this is done. And I hope they don't go trying to do too much more out of it.
It's going to be Mediocre Noon next, actually.
Where Swamp Thing goes after fucking corporate bastards. That's not going to entertain me at all.
Well, you know what? Think back before you say that. Like, what they're redoing is recreating Swamp Thing as the horror book that it was. Alec Holland is Swamp Thing again. Like, they've taken what Alan Moore did out of the... All basically Brightest Day did was remove 20 to 40 years of writing. Some of it was bad writing, and some of it wasn't. But suddenly you've got a Martian Manhunter, straight from space. You've got Aquaman with both hands in an orange outfit, and Mera, his wife. You've got Hawkman without Hawkgirl, or Hawkwoman, or Shiera, or, Play-Doh Barbie, or...
Play-Doh Barbie. Wow.
Dead Man is dead again, but now feels better about his life, so now he's more bitter, just like the original Dead Man. So all they've really done is taken a lot of key characters and bring them right back to they were 20 to 40 years ago. That's what this whole thing was about?
No, we don't need a crisis. That's all right.
This was a crisis, in a sense, but it basically erased bad writing. I mean, not all of it was bad writing, obviously. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, as you know, is a pinnacle of mine.
Yeah.
But,
But what happened after?
I remember a Swamp Dog in one issue. I mean, there's all sorts of weird things that happen.
Yeah, in the Cosmic High Five.
Yeah. But there's a lot of strange things that got erased. I'm not sure that this was worth it in the end.
Nah, I don't think it was. Maybe I'll sell it and not rebuy it. Alright, the incredibly long-winded, thick, and expensive, and controversial Action 900.
Now, you only bought this because it's controversial, because I haven't read any of the previous
I
Action...
am in fact a sucker for anniversary issues.
Okay.
So, 100s, 200s, 4s, 6, huge even numbers I'm a sucker for. And, when I found out that people were going batshit about it because they have some weird jingoistic idea of what Superman should be, then of course I wanted to read it. What's your anti-jingoistic take?
Well, all right. A couple of points. First off, I didn't understand the main storyline because I hadn't read any of it. But somehow Lex has superpowers that make him a god who makes the entire world happy, but then ends it because he can't kill Superman and still keep everyone happy, which is awful. And then there's the Doomsday Family giant-size special that we're reading about here. It's a bunch of Doomsday clones with the powers of different super beings.
Which I'm so not reading.
Ugh.
At all. Ever.
All right, and then there are a couple of nice light backup, and then we get to this one story, which is a backup of all things that's getting all this, about Superman renouncing his American citizenship. Which, A, if you're going to do it, should have been a much bigger storyline, and B, is dumb. Because his whole point is that he's human, and he lives in America. And how often do you expect to see him flying off to China and have 3-issue adventure? Like, he's not going to be international. We all know this because it's an American comic book. He's an American comic book character. Yes, he's a hero of the world, but his home is Metropolis, which, if it were real, would be in the U.S. of A.
But they got to be doing something with this.
I don't know. I mean, because it's a backup, it's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe it's going to be a huge thing going forward. Maybe this was just him saying it in this one issue.
Well, Billy Tucci seems to think it's the worst thing that could ever fucking happen, ever.
Billy Tucci has a point. Like, it's really not...
No, Aaron Lopresti, sorry.
Well, that's a big difference. But they have a point. Like, it's...
No, from a patriotic perspective, not from a storytelling perspective.
What do you mean?
I mean, he thinks it's just improper overall.
Because
Superman's fucking American.
Well, he has a point. I mean, he lives here. He grew up here. He just showed that the most painful moment of his entire life was the death of his American dad. It's not like he's British.
Well, see, my take on it is, even though he's supposed to represent all things great and wonderful about the American people, telling the government to fuck off, I'm going to do it my way, to me is pretty much as American as you can get. I mean, the founding fathers, through fucking, like Dennis Miller said, they were cutting off heads because of attacks on their breakfast drink, and it wasn't even coffee.
No, it's very true that there's an aspect of rebellion that's very American. And it's sadly something that we've lost or judge people for now to a much greater degree. Like, you can't be patriotic and rebel anymore, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But he's not rebelling. Superman isn't rebelling. He rebelled when he grew hair 2 inches past his fucking collar. That was the big Superman rebellion. Or when he had blue and red electric powers. Like,
I don't know that was strictly a rebellion.
But, that's how...
did he go looking for that? I was fortunately too poor to buy books when they were pulling that shit.
But the fact of the matter is at the end of the day, if somebody invaded America, all right, if suddenly, like, Russian troops dropped into Metropolis to take over, he's not going to sit there and go, I'm actually international now, so y'all got to figure it. Like, it's just not going to happen, so it's dumb.
No, he would find a way to make it. This represents all that is bad with humanity, so I'm going to stop it. He would do fine with repelling Russians and not being American. He would find a way.
Fine, but you know what? It's not like he's suddenly he's not going to attack America ever.
Well, certainly not.
Which, at the end of the day, would be required if you're the international guy.
Well, it depends precisely on what America did.
Well, knowing America as I do, sooner or later it's going to do. So, and don't forget, we had President Luther in this book.
Yes.
Like, if he didn't renounce his American citizenship then...
That is a very good point. He was pulling a Baldwin on us now.
Yes, come on. If you're not going to drop the ball then don't drop it now.
Well, you also got to figure if it didn't occur to anybody to do it then.
Because it doesn't. It's just not. It doesn't feel in character. This feels more like his walking thing, which I like the concept of, and then went places that I didn't think it should have gone.
Right.
You know what? They're overly liberalizing Superman.
It's getting. Excuse me. It is getting to a point where he's such a global village type character that it's out of hand.
Well, he's going to start growing his beard back like the Stern Ordway Mignola annual, and then he's going to be walking around with a headband like super hippie, and I don't know that I can endorse super hippie.
I can't endorse super hippie. I can't endorse regular hippies. It does what now?
It came in set. The whole thing, like the way you were talking about it, I thought this was going to be this epic thing, and I've read about it elsewhere. And then it's like second fiddle to the Jor-El hiring a dude to save his son story, which was nice, and the art was amazing. You know, very nice. Although the baby Jesus, baby Kal-El picture was pushing my button a little bit.
Well, a lot of people keep trying to draw that parallel, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think he's just a corn-fed white boy who's trying to do right. Let's leave it at that, man. What's wrong with that?
Which is all he wants to be.
Right. Although it occasionally I'll see something that irritates me in that vein. Like, I was organizing the shop Saturday. Came across an issue of that Gary Frank thing, Jeff Johns, last year. The Secret Origins.
Oh, okay. I never read it.
Now, this is another thing that irritates me, but I'll get to that part later. What do people in the Midwest do?
Farm.
Alright. When they're done farming for the day, what do?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for every Midwest. There's a decent amount of drinking.
There you go. And what do they drink, largely?
Beer.
There you go. Because Anheuser-Busch is out in the Midwest. Colorado is just another state over.
I got cousins up in the upper Midwest, and I
got
was
all
shocked.
those Germans up in Minnesota.
Yep.
Anywhere from Minnesota down to Oklahoma, all the way down to Texas, is just beer. But we're supposed to be told that alcohol is so evil in a comic book that Jonathan and Cal can't share a beer over the fence. And they're so paranoid about someone getting the impression that Supes might down one or two every once in a while that they actually write soda pop on the bottle they're holding. Come on. Really? You got a bunch of Germans living out there. You got a bunch of Irish farming. There's a lot of people in the Midwest, and I lived in Michigan. I know people I was in the Army with people from Missouri, Iowa. They drink. It's a normal, standard thing. You know? But no. He's the shining example, so he's got to have a pop. Fuck that. I think Superman would have enough restraint and control not to, attempt to get tanked.
I think we can safely assume that.
Yes.
All right.
And on top of that, could he get tanked?
I would like
so
to
why
know.
shouldn't he drink all the beer he could possibly stand? It's not like some kid can say, I can't get drunk either. It's not like Johnny Storm over here. I'm done with Darth Vader and the Lost Command. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't care if there's 3 more or 1 more. I'm not buying the next one.
I am Vader, and Vader equals death.
While true, it was executed rather poorly.
It just never felt real. And
no. He doesn't have any of the menace he's normally supposed to have.
Or the gravitas.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it. No fucking gravitas. And they capture him and tie his ass up!
For like the second to third time in a 4-issue series.
It's like, really? He couldn't burst the bonds with the Force and just choke the shit out of him? He choked his own wife, for fuck's sake. He can't handle this priestess? Trying to make Vader human is like, I don't even have a decent analogy. I'm so mad.
No, I am not going to be heartbroken to see that one go away.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Let me know when you're done. Cool. Alright. Our one listener just got married last night. So.
Yes, I'm going to be doing... I'm finally going to write something. I'm going to do a special in honor of Don Julio.
Really?
Talk about the wedding bliss or lack thereof in comic book characters.
That's awesome.
All right, so what's next in our pile?
You ready for Detective 876?
All right, I'm going to read my note in its entirety. You ready?
Yes.
Someone fed the girl to the whale and then left the whale in the lobby of the bank run by the daughter of the man who murdered Dick Bat's parents. Come on!
Dick Bat's... Don't say Dick Bat anymore. There's our title. Don't say Dick Bat anymore.
Are you like, what is going on?
Sonya Zuko and then
the best thing in this book, quite honestly, was him autopsying an orca.
That was pretty funky though. I did enjoy that. No, the art was phenomenal too.
I do like the style of the art. And then the luxury car gun smuggler.
Yeah, that kind of... I didn't care about that. I'm like, that's what you got? Luxury car gun smugglers? Really? And they're going to trap him in the auto wrecking yard. Because that's a new and different fucking thing. But... when he was talking about not using the plane...
there were some interesting writing aspects.
That sequence I did enjoy immensely. Because that seemed to... Dick is finally truly understanding. I mean, he's always got Bruce, but I'm seeing him develop a greater empathy with him.
When all this falls apart and there's one Batman and he goes back to being Nightwing or whatever, I would be more inclined to look at a Nightwing book after the development they've had with this character.
Yes. I would actually give it a go this time.
But and I did like the fact that the relationship between Dick and Commissioner Gordon is different. Like, you can go to him about his son and talk to him the way he used to be able to talk to Bruce 20 years ago in writing terms.
Right.
Whereas now it's a much more, Bruce loner. Like in the 70s, Commissioner Gordon would be like, hey, can you come to this charity fundraiser for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman will be there. Jim?
Maybe Scott Snyder's still got some things he can pull out.
I think Scott Snyder is a talented writer because of those little moments. But this whole whale thing, I don't know anything about that. And then being the daughter of the come on, there's just so much horribleness.
I wish they'd stop tying things into
Joe Chill moment. Anyone?
Yes. Every time you turn around, somebody is trying to tie something new back into something old. It's like, look, new is okay. It really is. It's okay until you've thrown so much crap up against the wall, you have to repaint.
No.
I'm
saying there's a lot of Batman villains that aren't getting any press. So, fire a Cavalier out there.
If you want to use the old stuff, go play. Just come back before the street lights come on. Or if you're going to make new guys, fucking phenomenal. Make new guys. Make good new guys people want to read. But don't go...
Hey, Mr. Tallyman, telling me...
No Tallymans, man. What did I tell you about that Tallyman stuff? Huh?
Trigger Twins.
What do you remember?
Magpie.
Magpie's dead.
They're all dead.
Most of them. A good chunk of them. But I haven't seen the ventriloquist for a while. Because he's dead. No. Come on, just quit tying them together. Alright? You want to use an old villain, use an old fucking villain. You want to use a new villain, that's great. Not everything has to be cross-linked like a damn database. Cut it out.
No, it's true.
Anyway. I think I'm going to hit number 6 and call it even, unless Grant Morrison can really pull out some far more interesting shit in Batman Incorporated.
All right, come on. You've got the Spy or Dr. Daedalus or any of his other 15 nicknames. You've got El Gaucho, Scorpiana, the Hood, Ouroboros, Leviathan, Batwoman makes an appearance, and at the end there's another Batman named David. Like, there's a lot of things going on in this book.
Yeah, and it's frankly too much, actually. Wrap up a story, go to another fucking country. Okay?
Is El Gaucho going to be a bat person? I'm not even sure.
Don't know. It's been 2.5 issues, and it's not clear at all.
And see, and again, like, how often... This all feels like a giant waste of my time.
It does.
Like, how often do I think I'm going to see any of these bat people?
Unless they start throwing them into their own series, you're not.
And
because he's too busy
would
running
you even
around
buy them?
Philosophically jacking himself off all the time.
Would you buy the French Muslim Batman?
No.
Or the...
No, he would not entertain me at all.
The Japanese making up for his dead mentor Batman? Or the El Gaucho... Well, I would buy the El...
Deathman?
Yeah.
I might read something that had Dr. Deathman in it.
Would you buy El Gaucho's book? We know I would.
Why?
Because it's hysterical.
I don't know. I don't know if I can handle another El Gaucho story. I really don't.
And the Hood, like, is that calling to you?
No, the Hood is not calling to me.
You didn't touch the Squire book or what?
Nope. Knight and Squire. No, I didn't bother with that either. Too colorful. I don't know how. I don't even know how they wrap themselves around each other with Batman. What do you got for a note there?
That was about it.
That was the whole thing?
Here, you can read my notes. I think you'll enjoy
read
them.
Your notes. You read the notes. You work with the notes. So you can... Where? Batman Inc. What the hell? But there's nothing like a good prison story.
You know what? Loving Cap right now.
And the Gulag in Cap 617 is everything you could want from Caged Heat.
Well, first off, you get Ursa Major,
who nobody's seen in 15 years.
That's not true. The Ursa Major was in the start of the Red Hulk, when it was part of the Guardians, remember? Yeah, Ursa Major always popped whenever there's anything Russian.
Whenever you need a great big bear.
Then you had this awesome wolf spider concept, which I really liked. The idea that the whole Black Widow thing was also tried with men, but they were all douchebags.
Yes.
Like, I love that. Then you got a Titanium Man who's going to beat the crap out of Bucky Cap.
Yeah.
That Russian's assassins. Henry Gyrick is still an asshole.
Well, yeah.
I mean, loving it. This was a phenomenal read. And then you finally have Cap going, oh, maybe I should be Cap. Because of Jarvis.
Oh, this is a great book.
Awesome.
It's a great book. I don't know about this super soldier stuff in the back, though. No, that's not. It's all the same. That's Titanium Man. Avengers?
All right.
12.1.
So, Jessica Drew is on a mission for S.W.O.R.D., which is still a dumb inaction.
Nobody understood, and they had to explain, and everybody's like, what are you talking about?
Why does she keep hanging out with women with green hair? Like, you know...
Well...
What's that about?
I don't know. I don't know who that character was aside from S.W.O.R.D. I read the first one, I didn't buy it, and I'm like, yeah, you're boring me.
But how cool is it that, like, what have I enjoyed more than the Intelligentsia in a long time?
Nothing.
Yeah. That, I was like, yes! MODOK and the Red Gun, like, just come on with your awesome selves.
But...
And they get pummeled nice and early, but that's inevitable.
Well, sure.
And then
but it was fun.
They find a Space Knight just to make it slightly cooler.
That I was hoping to get to that. Space Knights.
That's just a clever little idea, like something that exists in Marvel history people have been ignoring. Like, no, don't talk about Rom.
Well, they can't. The licensing is all fucked up.
Oh, because of the toy.
Yes, I read just last week that Parker Brothers doesn't even know if they own the rights anymore. So Marvel definitely doesn't. But so they can't say the name Rom.
But they can say Space Knight.
They can say Space Knight. They can say any of the ancillary characters they made up because he was one toy with no support system.
Because no one
just
bought
a great big box that went. I can tell you're a bad guy because this light's red.
So I really enjoyed this.
Dire Wraiths they can use.
Yep. Yeah, they created them.
Which is nasty with their fucking dental drill tongues going into people's heads.
If they do, like, who knows if they will or not. But either way. And then what they do with the Space Knight is they have it possessed by Ultron. Which doesn't make a lick of sense, but it's just awesome.
I wonder about Ultron, though, man. Did they have to bring him back already?
Well, my issue is not that they're bringing him back, but
they brought back Claw, like we were hoping they would one day do.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to see that. But if they bring Ultron back, and they have the Intelligentsia, what douchebag genius is going to follow?
Henry Pym.
It's Pym time, motherfuckers!
What the hell? I did like the Mad Thinker and the Wizard's little tete-a-tete there. You know what? We should tell her our entire plan. Ha! That is a good idea.
You know, I love when people take old, like, this
Because
is why,
then, and then they don't.
Because they're not morons.
Because they're not morons, but they can see that telling the plan would blow her mind so fucking much that they would just get such a big kick out of her.
No, because she's assuming they're idiots. She's like asking questions. Like, yes, let me fill you in on all the details, superhero.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think their plan is so incredibly fucking awesome that she would have an aneurysm.
Yeah, no, I'm going with my theory. But either way, awesome. Totally enjoyed it. And then from that we go to Secret Avengers.
Yeah. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with 12.
12.
What is the Prince of Orphans exactly?
I don't fucking know. What is a Prince of Orphans? All I know is they're still ripping off Inception, and I want them to move on to another storyline.
Didn't this have kind of a Lovecraft feel with like the memory loss and the weird rituals and the giant bug thing?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not sure that we need Lovecraft in our Avengers, though.
Well, you know what? I don't like the Secret Avengers. Like, I just don't like like Captain America's Black Ops team is the stupidest. Like, it feels like the Secret Avengers feels like a Saturday morning cartoon from the 80s. Like, let's get some random characters and build this special force. And then, like,
That's a very good point.
You know, John Steele and the whole Thorndike relationship, it felt like Planetary, too. Like, the Warren Ellis book. These weird subplots and these cultures behind cultures.
If you say so, I will believe you. I didn't read enough Planetary to draw that conclusion. So, I'm kind of screwed on that one. So, but the 12-1 I didn't mind.
I couldn't stand that book.
Really?
All right, let me go over a couple things with you. I think you're going to find things different when I speak, and that'll be a rare day, but nonetheless. So first off, it involves somebody trying to be a U.S. agent, which is just awful.
Which is fun.
Then we've got AIM for the 4,000th time. Like, they're everywhere all of a sudden, which I kind of like AIM, but still, you know, like somebody else. Then we have a Cap plan because information gets out because of some dude that works for Mr. Negative of all lame villains telling them all the secret identities. So Cap comes up with a plan to save one person and let 418 people die.
Is that what happened?
Did you read it?
I thought I did.
419 names are out there. There's no way he can save them all.
Oh, that one. That part, yeah.
So he's going to save
It'll have
one,
to do.
which is the worst Cap concept
that
ever.
sentence is not something Cap would ever... He would be calling every last Avenger in everywhere, anytime. Fantastic Four, the X-Men, he would be getting everybody till he found 419
the Texas
other
Twister.
heroes. The Great Lakes fucking Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, come on, for God's sake. In that Avengers Initiative, everybody has the phone numbers.
Everybody has the phone numbers.
So this is a horror. Like, this is a guy who locked into their concept and is not thinking about the character. Cap doesn't let 418 people die. And then on top of that, they fuck up the mission and the 419th dies. So they don't even succeed.
420th?
No, it was 419 total. I checked. And then, when did Cap get comfortable with Valkyrie slaughtering people with her sword constantly?
Well, this is going to be one of those regrettable badass stages that they like to throw heroes into every once in a while.
Yeah, but Cap doesn't do those kind of things.
And the writers are just going to have to figure that out on their own. And we're going to have to tell them by not buying the fucking book.
Which, you know what? Secret Avengers is the Avengers book not to buy, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, not having read Academy, I'm inclined to agree with you. But maybe I'll swap them out.
I have heard good things about Academy, but I mean, Secret Avengers, I don't care for the team. I thought it was kind of funny that Ant-Man wants to do Black Widow, but I don't care.
Well, apparently old Scott there is a bit of a horn dog, so.
But you know what? They've got a hot character, and then a lame guy wants to, get with her. I'm like, oh, good, it's a teen comedy. That's necessary.
That's pretty much it.
But I'm sorry, that really bothers. It's like being written by somebody who doesn't respect Cap as a character.
Well, it's probably not so much doesn't respect him, doesn't quite understand him sufficiently.
And I get, that I'm naive and that Brubaker's been doing, there's been a darker Cap late, but he still isn't going to just sign off on one of his teammates willy-nilly slaughtering people with a sword, and he's not going to come up with any kind of plan where 418 people died.
No, you're right. You're right. I initially got caught up in some of the art and the general badassery of it, and I almost forgot who I was reading to begin with.
Right, because that's my whole point with Secret Avengers is that Cap wouldn't have a Black Ops. Bucky Cap would have a Black Ops team.
Yes, they should swap them out. It would make much more sense.
Because then you have somebody who's willing to go that extra mile.
Or pull that extra trigger.
And it's not to say that Cap hasn't gone on Shield Avengers where people get shot and whatnot. Obviously, those things have happened. But I don't think he would... I personally don't see him... They have to shoot first, and Valkyrie just goes in and stabs shit all the time. I just don't see that being a plan. And the whole Cap... Beast, right? I just don't get the Secret Avengers at all.
But what about Thor?
I really liked this book. The whole repairing the tree I thought was odd, but it built nicely. Thor and Sif are hooking up again. That was kind of neat. They did Loki awesome with the little kid and his stabby stick.
The stabby stick. But they're bringing Galactus around.
You know what? But I gotta be honest. The way they wrote Silver Surfer, I really appreciate it. His whole I have to find dead worlds and I work for him on this was the Surfer you've missed.
Yes, because I don't even know what they had for the Surfer for several years, but he wasn't the torn Norrin Red who just wanted to see nobody else die.
No, I totally enjoyed this. But my only issue, and it's a little thing, but I thought it was totally pointless, is that going back to Simonson's Thor, which is how I rate all Thors.
Well, yeah,
they just would have flown down there. They wouldn't needed space suits. I don't want to see Thor in armor. And you know what? I'd be okay if it was some sort of battle armor, but not some sort of flying space suit.
It's not even that. It's just a scuba suit, for
fuck's sake. Yeah, it really felt like, what do you call it? The Abyss with the clear...
The Abyss.
I just didn't feel right at all. But I do like how the Warriors 3 have to watch Loki, and then they're like, do you trust him? Hell no. We don't even like him.
He's goddamn Loki. What about this subplot with the pastor?
I really enjoyed that too. Religion in comics is very challenging.
It is.
For a lot of reasons. And obviously Thor opens much bigger questions. And they address issues that people would have without blindly going one way or the other. It wasn't stupid.
Yet.
The pastor wasn't purely evil or purely misguided. He asked questions. He was unsure. And he, cautioned his own people on things without
being
claiming
didactic.
that he was perfect.
Right.
It wasn't like watching the Crusader attack him with his sword because he's not the one true guy. There was much more depth to the writing, and this is what I love about Fraction.
Although there was where did I read it? Somebody was telling me that Thor had a dialogue with some kid about being a small g god, and that there was in fact a capital G god that was above them all, which kind of begs a couple of questions.
Well, I mean, that would all depend on whoever was writing it in that moment. Like, you have to have some serious balls to think that that's okay to do. Your own
I don't
religion.
know. I didn't read it. I read about that. I'm hoping to dig it up sometime soon so I can read the entire conversation and see where it really went. But no, that's a good point as well. So anyway, so we still love Fraction. We still love Thor.
Absolutely.
Leaving us for the evening with Fantastic Voyage Part 1 of 2 in Amazing Spider-Man.
I'm going to say something truly blasphemous at this point.
Uh-oh.
Dan Slott wrote a better Fantastic Four in this book than is happening in their own book. Like, this was a Fantastic Four that was fun. Like, when Reed said, me and my giant ego are going to land now, like, that's what you want. You don't want Reed Richards, who's 18,000 thoughts ahead of everyone and can't talk to anyone. I mean, they still had the brain trust of children that I just can't fully handle. Dragon Man explaining how complicated he is not my idea of the best time possible.
And then Valeria explaining how badass she is.
Yeah.
Got no need.
No, there was that was the Fantastic Four that I enjoy. Is like a family that bickers and talks. And when Reed Richards was awesome instead of anal retentive and annoying. And then on top of that, you've got zombie pirates, skull caves.
How are these things not awesome sauce?
They are, and it turns out to all be the Sinister Six glee. Like, I was so excited by everything, and then Ben Grimm dressed up as Blackbeard again, and pretending to be Johnny Depp because he doesn't remember how he talked as Blackbeard the last time. And the villain's walking around in an old scuba suit. Like, come on.
Now, I don't know about the scuba suit.
Oh, no. See, that was the best part, because when they... Not only did they make a Pete Venkman reference, but they refer to it as Scooby-Doo, and suddenly the entire team goes, actually, that makes sense. Like, Scooby-Doo solved the mystery. If you can't find that awesome, I don't know who you are.
But now Carly's back. And you knew I was going to throw this crap in there.
Yeah, I don't want to see her. And the whole, I'm getting a Green Goblin tattoo. Like, hopefully this gets rid of her once and all. And for the record, never trust a drunken roller derby girl.
Never trust a drunken, irritated, her friends got her into it.
I don't care. It's a bad idea, and hopefully it gets rid of a character I don't like.
And isn't it, like, completely illegal to tat somebody when they're drunk?
You know what? I know more people who've gotten a tattoo drunk or underage. The whole laws on tattooing seem to constantly differ. So, but no, I think Dan Slott's Fantastic Four. As much as Hickman is the idea guy, like, this is the family dynamic that I'm looking for in that book.
See, and she's spiteful too.
Yeah, to pick the Green Goblin, it's a tad creepy.
That's the other thing. If you want to get a tattoo, fine. I don't know who's got $400 to $800 to spend being spiteful, but apparently CSI investigators in New York City make a shit ton of dough.
It doesn't strike me as Carly's the kind of woman who spends her money all the time. Like, how many lattes can you buy, really?
Well, I mean, she seemed an uptight, but otherwise not straight-laced, but reasonable person for the most part.
Well, that's why they threw in the whole roller derby thing to begin with.
Well,
give depth to a character that doesn't have it.
That's not depth.
Well,
it's just lame.
It's the attempt at depth, man.
Yeah, well, Dan's gonna have to try a whole lot harder, man.
Everything else about the book, I totally enjoyed.
And having established that, I think we're gonna call it even, yo.
All right. In the immortal words of Socrates,
Bless you, fuckers.
Done and done.
I just said up yours, baby.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. You can find us on iTunes, Podcast Alley, Facebook, Comic Space, our own site, www.themeangeek.com. Subscribe to us through RSS, and most importantly, find us as a proud member on the Comics Podcast Network. Contact us directly through email at themeanergeek@gmail.com.